It's good to see you. It is good to see you. But then I realise as well how busy you've been as someone who's Chris Robshaw, not just the former player, now pundit, but also the dancer. Has that actually has that continued? Have you continued after the Strictly Come Dancing days? Are you still in the ballroom?
Look, yeah, to do Strictly was very much out of my comfort zone. Before the first and second show, I don't think I slept the night before.
We were more nervous for that than a game.
Oh, definitely. I was
Than
honestly.
any England game.
Well, look, I'm not musical. I've got no music in my body. I can't clap in time. My partner just kept being like, "Listen to the music," and I'm like, I'm listening to it. It doesn't do anything, but so yeah, trying to understand it and trying to work out when they're counting the steps and all that kind of stuff. But look, it was also amazing. I loved the experience, and it was the first time Sid's retiring, and Camilla even said it that she was like, "You look energized again." And I think a lot of people, when they retire, they struggle, myself included, and I'm sure you've had your moments. Um, and it really energized me. But look, the show's phenomenal. And look, I knew it was a big show. I didn't know how big it was till I was on it. And
It
now
is
people
massive,
speak to
isn't
me
it? Yeah.
about Strictly. They don't speak to me about rugby anymore.
I did not think for the first few minutes of my YouTube channel we would be talking about Strictly Come Dancing. I've learned through watching a bunch of YouTube stuff, I got to say to people like, this is right at the beginning, so please hit subscribe if it's not necessarily just to listen to more dancing stuff. But there is a button to hit subscribe, so please do that. Robbo, I appreciate you. Former teammate of mine as well, back at San Diego Legion. How funny that we found each other out here in California, where I'm based. I'm not actually here at Allianz Stadium. It's a lot warmer where I am, where you are, than where you are at the moment. But we've got a Six Nations coming up, and I wanted to bring you on because ultimately, like, not only have you had great memories of it, you've won a Grand Slam in it as well. I mean, let's kick it off. Does this Six Nations a year out from a World Cup, like, does this matter more on all grounds? Are we sort of saying for like an England team, like, got to be winning this if we're going to take them seriously for next year at the World Cup?
Yeah, look, I think it's one of those ones. World Cups are always separate tournaments. You look at South Africa before they went into I don't think it was last World Cup. Well, yeah, last World Cup, they didn't win the Rugby Championship.
Right.
And all of a sudden they disappear, they lose a couple of games, and then they go and beat New Zealand at Twickenham, and all of a sudden they're on a roll. So I think, yes, of course you want to be playing well, of course you want to be on form, all that kind of stuff, but a World Cup is a separate tournament. I think for this Six Nations, England have to now step forward. You look at the depth they have, you look at the age of the player pool, you look at the way their players are playing in various competitions, and what they've done. Obviously, the last 4 games in the autumn, a younger squad went over to Argentina and won 2 games on the tour there. They've had some pretty big victories, whether not necessarily winning silverware, but pretty big, significant moments in games. France last year at home, when they probably weren't expected to win that. Ireland 2 years before that, when they were the side to beat. South Africa a couple of years before that. But as you know, in sport, it's picking up silverware, isn't it? And I very firmly believe it will come down to that last game. England
in France, the away game in Paris, right? Because I was going to say to you that, I mean, in terms of the schedule, they've actually only got 2 home games. That first one opening up against Wales, a massive one against Ireland. But going away, you know about going away to Murrayfield, and you also know about going away to France. Do you seriously already, like, if you're going to put money on it, it's coming down to an England-France decider?
Yeah, I think so. I think you look at the way that both teams are playing, both depths. Ireland, unfortunately, look like they're slipping a little bit, whether they just have that next wave coming through. Wales, of course, are where they are, unfortunately. Italy are good, but you would hope England would beat them again. And then Scotland has been a banana skin for the last couple of years. They've just about got back on track. But it's a tough game, So, look, and that's why the Six Nations a brilliant tournament, because you have to be on it. Every game you have to be on it. Right. And you look back to the times I played, and in all those games or those 4 years where we finished second and then where we finished third, you can trace back to missing out on a Grand Slam from 1 drop ball, 1 missed tackle in 1 game out of 5. That's how significant every moment of every game is. But look, I think England are, like I said, I think they're in a good place. Maro's obviously doing a good job with leadership. People like George Ford have got a real steady head about him. But then you've got exciting young players. You've got Tommy Freeman, you've got Pollock, you've got, I mean, God knows who else in the back row. I think Ollie Chesham's a fantastic player. I think he's a possible...
Guy Pepper, Benno, Sam Underhill. There's so many in that back row, which are quality, right?
Exactly, and that's the thing. Like, it's just like other teams lose one or two players, and it's kind of, we have no one left. For England, it's like next, and I think it's yes, England are going to be in a good place.
Let's just go back a little bit then before I start asking you about the likes of Henry Pollock, because I'm fascinated to know what you think of him. Just knowing what I know of you and then seeing him, it's almost like just completely different people and players, but in a great way. For you mentioned obviously those Six Nations experiences. I went away and made sure I got my stats, I believe, right on this. 43 captained appearances for England out of your 66. And that winning Grand Slam in 2016, but before that, as you say, when you were captain, just missing out. No doubt some fantastic memories. Of course, memories against Wales. The first game coming up for England against Wales. I will never forget, and I think you know what I'm going to say, the standoff in the Principality Stadium. 2015, I believe. Wales won that day, but I just
we won that one.
I thought they won that day. Yeah, I thought it was. So the standoff. Talk me through just how much importance. Everyone wants to beat England, but at the same time, when you're going to these Six Nations, from your experience, from that experience doing the standoff, like, just how bigger occasions are these?
I think what's brilliant about the Six Nations, like I said, anyone could beat anyone. The rivalry between the teams is amazing, and for rugby being on terrestrial, it makes a difference. Like the viewing figures probably go up to, I don't know, 7-8 million, which is massive, and obviously bigger on certain grudge games and all that kind of stuff. But then you go into the heartland of Cardiff, where you're being baited and booed, or Scotland, and then the bagpipes come up, and there are so many different traditions which are fantastic. And I think also the way the tournament is and the length of it, you kind of play through 2 seasons, weather-wise.
Right.
So it's generally a bit wetter at the beginning, and then
in February, then March,
dry and sunny and quite nice to play. So the game does change a little bit. Yeah, look, that game in Cardiff, like, we had some great battles against Wales, and some we won, and unfortunately some we lost as well. And look, we had found out they beat us heavily before, that they wanted to muck us around, they wanted us to get on the pitch early and bait and boo us and all that. And being in that stadium on the pitch when the lights go out and you're out there, I mean, 10 seconds can feel like an hour. It's that type of thing. So we just wanted to take a bit of control back, and we just basically wanted to offset them a little bit. And look,
was that your decision though? Was that your decision, or was that like a collective?
We spoke about what to do, and no, look, we didn't say we were necessarily going to do that. We were just going to do stuff we didn't really make a decision what we were going to do. We were just going to be a bit slow getting out of the change room, and then we're going to be a bit of this. Because you know what it's like, you get a knock on the door, 10 seconds to go out, you come, all that kind of stuff. And then we're just
pretending they're not there.
Well, exactly, yeah. And then slow it all down. And then, of course, the tunnel and a bit of theatrics was always a bit of fun. And I didn't actually realise till sometime after, it actually changed the way that now teams come out together in the Six Nations.
Yes.
And a lot of these tournaments, whereas before you'd always get one or the other, whereas now they both come out together, and so it all took that.
Yeah, no, it's just it's one of those Six Nations moments that I think that will live long in fans' minds. Is there any other like big sort of capturing moment for you? Obviously, I know winning it and getting that Grand Slam. I mean, that was incredible in 2016. But also just anything else about the tournament that rings just such great memories for you.
I think what's interesting about it, and is that you could play with, like, I had friends who played at Harlequins with me, but played for other nations. And at Harlequins, you were mates, you would get on, but as soon as you got for that national shirt, you hated each other and you wanted to get one over them. I remember playing against Jamie Roberts or Tim Visser or Adam Jones and people like that. And you're playing for your country, and that's all that mattered. And then, of course, there was bragging rights for the next year until it happened all over again. And that was
that actually, when you're in the changing room at like the club, is that on your mind? Like when
No,
you're
it's not
coming in after Six
wrong, but
Nations, it's like,
you want
yeah,
you want to win. You want to be a little bit
yeah,
smug when you come back, because if not, I'm sure they'll give you a little dig here and there.
especially the Welsh.
Um, yeah, so or someone would. So yeah, make sure you're on the right side of it.
Oh no, I love it. You know what? When I thought about the kind of question, I just literally just having a chat with you. It's always interesting to hear because you've got so many stories. But I thought it'd be quite interesting for people to understand a little bit, like what actually you have to do as an England captain. You say about how much respect you've got for someone like Maro Itoje, because I imagine you see it not just on his performances, but also everything that centres around captaincy for this, well, the nation that is England, which is a big, quite lucrative, England rugby is the infamous, the brown envelopes flying around for extra appearances for you, Robbo. I don't know. You tell me. But feels like there was a lot going on from a media side to then just being accountable for stuff.
Yeah, look, I think firstly, it's you got to make sure the rugby side is spot on, whether that be tactics, whether that be sitting down with a coach earlier in the week discussing team selection, um, giving your points of view, their points of view, reviewing last game. You generally probably have the meetings before you have the meetings, discuss it, how it's going to go, what's going to be played out.
How did you feel about that, though? Almost selecting players that, as you say, were maybe from your club. Like,
Yeah, look, I remember there was times I know new people are getting dropped before they get a drop, or 2 days before they're getting dropped. And as a captain, and look, you learn to keep that information. And you probably also learn to separate yourself a little bit as well, because unfortunately you do have to have that type of stuff, and you have to stick up for the coaches at times, and then other times you've got to stick up for the players, and it's that kind of balance when you have to get the feeling right. And then of course it's trusted people in those attacking leaders, defensive leaders, line-out leaders, and those kind of people to do their bit for the side. Because look, you can't do everything, and there are much better people than me in certain aspects. So you trust them. Of course, you overview things, you chat to them. But then it's stuff like, I don't know, was there an issue in training? How can we sort it out? What needs to be done to get it right before the next training session? But then away from the rugby side, it's making sure, of course, team unity. It's making sure you do all your media bits, appearances. So actually,
were there a lot during Six Nations?
Yeah, there would be. Yeah, because it's huge, isn't it? It's huge. It's the only time for rugby with probably World Cups that every now and then on the front of a paper or the back of papers. It's that type of thing, isn't it? It's that size. And I remember actually as captain, we used to have to go meet the referee the day before. So we'd do team run, all the team would go back to the hotel, and we would have to go and have a meeting with the referee again and say, "Oh, we think they're going to do this. We're going to try to do that." I'm sure they don't listen to anyone, and I'm not sure if they still do that. But it's just, again, it's one of those things you had to do.
Any last perks of it? Because I always hear about these brown envelopes. Apparently, they wander around the Allianz Twickenham Stadium like there's no tomorrow.
Unfortunately, in all my time, look, so post games, there's a lot of sponsors who sponsor England, who we obviously support. And look, don't get me wrong, playing for England is very lucrative, and it's an incredible honour. Well, exactly. And then post game, players will have to go and see sponsors. They have to go and see sponsors, and part of that you'll get some extra match fees, or not match fees. You get some extra sponsorship in your end of tournament paycheck. But back in the day, that used to very much be, before my time, a brown envelope full of cash. And players would literally run off the pitch, get showered as quick as possible, and run it basically around all the tents and marquees. And but yeah, before my time, unfortunately.
Oh, is that no longer? Because I can imagine. I can imagine
it's all invoiced now. Keeping the tax man happy.
I appreciate your time, and go back to this current Six Nations. Henry Pollock. As a former Saints man myself, I am loving this energy that he brings. I saw a clip of Owen Farrell talk about him and how it's like energy he's never seen before. Just how exciting is he? I know you were, from playing with you and knowing you in your absolute prime, you were a workhorse. You were a different player than Henry Pollock. And I don't think you would disagree with that. But just how much is he the new back row, the new era of back row, both on the field but also off it as well? Yeah,
no, I'm jealous of the guy. I mean, what the stuff he can do, like I said, I can only dream about. Watching the game against Sale, and the ball just finds him. or he finds it, you know, like, and he makes things happen. And for what, I think he's just turned 21, is that it?
Yep.
To have that much confidence and that much ability to back it up as well is amazing. And I wish I was like that, to be able to skin a fullback from 50 metres out, but then he goes to France and it puts in a hell of a performance, and they all hate him, and he just seems to love it and relish it, and it seems to make him better. And for English rugby, it's an amazing thing to have players like that coming through. And look, he's not the only one, but he is one who is a driving force. And I think being English, we're lucky to have him. And I think I did the Champions Cup final last year, and you had 60-year-old men with his headband in the stand. And
right.
Influence, which what rugby has lacked, and it does lack. I mean, we're not football, we don't have, or cricket, or those kind of superstars. But to have someone like that who comes in and look, I think he's definitely one of those players where you would hate to play against him, but you would love to have him in your side.
Yeah. Oh my God. 100%. But do you think he's more of he is just this impact player, or is there a starting position for him come England in the Six Nations?
You know what? And that's the danger now. That's almost his danger. He is 21 and he's so explosive, and he has big moments, not consistently, but he has big moments. And I think his next challenge now is to do an 80-minute performance. Don't dip in and out. I mean, even though he's dipping in and out with huge moments, he's having that consistency. And I think with England, no doubt there'll be an opportunity where he gets a start, possibly even against Wales to begin with. I mean, that's in the open as a starting going. But England's back row is packed and it's loaded. And it's like, who do you drop? Who do you take out? And that's the thing. And people will say this player should play that, but who are you leaving out? And it's a very fortunate position for Steve Borthwick. But I can definitely see him getting a start in the Six Nations. Will it be every game? I'm not sure.
I think he's someone what I hope, you mentioned earlier, Robert, about the media. I just hope that the media don't bring him down. If he does, let's say he doesn't have a great Six Nations, and for someone like you, and you'll know all about this, how possible is that going to be potentially?
What, for the media to go after him? Look, I think.
Yeah.
No, I think it's one of those ones where I think he's had the whole of France go after him. Post that Bordeaux game, and even when he went down to Po, I think it was first game of the Champions Cup, they started booing him as soon as he started warming up, and he's become a bit like the pantomime villain. But what I like is how Steve Borthwick is a very analytical, intense man, but he has embraced these young characters, and he's really encouraged them to not go away from that. And if you had asked people about Steve Borthwick in the past, they would say, no, that's not him. He doesn't do that. That's not his. But he's changed. Right. He's evolved. And he's really looked at what this young England side is like. And he's really tapped into that and encouraged them to be themselves. Whereas in the past, I think he would have tried to be trying to make them a little bit more like him. Whereas he has very much embraced what people call it their superpowers. Like you said, Owen Farrell spoke about his energy. Owen had the best energy and encouragement and all that, driving force. For him to say that about someone else's energy. So I think that's credit to Steve and all the coaches as well, that when players go into England, they don't go into their shells a little bit.
Yeah. No, for sure. No, I really think he's an exciting talent in more ways than one. Hey, look, Rob, I really appreciate your time. I do want to finish this off, though, and I can't not ask, obviously, about the Six Nations, but also I'm here in San Diego, California, as I've already mentioned, the American within me, finishing my career out here. The sun is actually beaming on me right now. I'm trying to hide it from the camera, but you're dealing with the darkness in London. You finished your career in America. How much of a crazy experience was that, playing for San Diego Legion in Major League Rugby? It didn't maybe go to plan. You had a bit of a wild couple of seasons. Great memories, though?
Yeah, look, I've still got my San Diego top on for you.
Oh, he's a day oneer. He's been once, and he's now a fan.
The Padres,
Didn't you do a pitch? You did the pitch, didn't you?
I did the first pitch, for the Padres. Very nervous about that, but I made it. But look, yeah, injuries and all that weren't ideal. Yes, we moved around a bit. Yes, there was a bit of a.
Well, it was in COVID time as well. Like
It
you're
was
in
COVID. We moved to Vegas. We ended up having a kid over there.
yeah.
But San Diego, I loved. You know what? If I could work there, I'd stay there. Like
Yeah,
you,
you're
I'll
telling
follow
me.
your footsteps. Um, and I think what was really important. Look, the rugby didn't get a plan, but for me, and it was probably kind of what I really wanted. It gave me a lovely ending to my rugby chapter and allowed me to mentally really escape, to
Yeah.
mentally
Oh yeah.
reset and recharge. Because look, it was so different from rugby here. It was so different, and just the difference in kind of time constraints. Over there, I had training and family and a couple of
Yeah.
friends and stuff like that. And it was lovely. And that's it. We went to the beach after training. Back in England, when I was playing, I don't know whether it peaks your power, you're training and you've got a commercial thing, or you've got a charity dinner in town, or you've been pulled over to an appearance, or something like that, or you're worried about this, that, and you were a bit here, there, and everywhere. But for time over there, it allowed me to really mentally de-stress. And look, yeah, the
Mm.
rugby didn't go to plan, and it was one where I'd go in and give rugby everything, but then I'd be able to park it
Mm.
a little bit on training, go
Go and
go with the
surf.
family for a coffee or go for a beat. And for me, water's a massive escape mentally.
Yeah.
Like so, being in the ocean was incredible. I would just go down there on my own some afternoons post
Yeah, I
training,
know.
just sit there, have a swim in the cold water. I still get in the ice bath now. It's a bit different here. Um,
From the Pacific.
so that side of things
Yeah.
was good. But yeah, look, the rugby was here, there, and everywhere. Moving to Vegas was interesting. Moving back was, yeah, interesting. If we'd gone straight to San Diego, my time would have been very different. And look, of
I
course,
think it
having
could have been.
injuries is never ideal, but it's one of those ones where if I wasn't injured, I probably would have missed my son's birth because I would have been in Utah 3 days away, middle of the night, and I would have missed that. So look, sometimes these things happen, and even actually that last game, I got injured the last game. I was umming and ahhing on whether I should play again, and I thought I was very much more not going to play. And I did my
Right.
shoulder, and I was like, okay, that's definitely a sign that my body's had enough.
No, mate, it was a joy having you, and I know you meant so much to the group as well, both on and off the field. Let's conclude this all then by saying, do you see a Six Nations game coming to the US?
Do I? Oh, good question.
You've got South Africa playing New Zealand in Baltimore in September. You've had Ireland against the All Blacks last November. You've seen like where rugby is growing, how it is growing over here, although it's a challenge.
Yeah,
But you feel like the next big thing for everything is like, do you stick Six Nations in England, Wales, in New York?
you know what? I don't, and the reason for that is pure financial. Like for England to go and
But they get
England
paid
won't
to
even
come over
take
here,
their
though.
England won't even take their games around England
Yeah.
because they lose money from not having it at Twickenham.
So okay, they would have to be given the money that they would lose
I,
or
I
not
would have
get.
I would have thought there'd have to be
Yeah.
something like that. Something like a South Africa, New Zealand. Their stadiums aren't as big as probably what they get over there. So
Hmm.
again, I don't know the full financials, but I would have thought something like that would have to play a part of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, unless, like you said, that money is kind of guaranteed or covered elsewhere to bring it, and it might be to bring New Zealand there because obviously they go there quite a bit. But unfortunately, I can't see it anytime soon. And look,
Damn it.
like I said, I love my time playing over there, and it was different, but it was it was a good experience.
We had some fun. I really thought you were going to give me some brilliant one line and being like, "Yeah, it's going to happen," and I'll swing that
I
on
mean, do you
social
think it's going
media.
to happen? Do you think it's going to happen?
I honestly think it will one day, man. I think that the
Yeah,
investment that's been made.
one day say when.
I think one day.
What
Sorry,
years?
no. Pre 2031 World Cup. I think there will be. I think there is so much money that will be invested by World Rugby in the US that money that you're talking about England that they wouldn't get by not having a game at Allianz Twickenham. I see it being a really positive thing for the sport. I know the traditionalists will hate me saying that, but there is a huge market here to grow. There's so many expats here as well, not let alone in Southern California. I'm talking about on the East Coast. I just think The problem is, which nation's going to give that game up? And like you say, England might be like, oh, we'll do it, but not for one of our home games.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, and what they have all done, and they want to support American or rugby in America. They've all said they want to support it. And I believe the new tournament, what they call it in the summer,
the Nations Cup or Nations Championship,
the Nations Cup final potentially might be in America in the future. So I can see something like that happening, where they're bringing a tournament like that to the States, or I don't know, a weekend of rugby, and like making it like a festival and all that kind of stuff, where it's not, obviously they're changing that, so it's not friendlies anymore. It leads to something more than the Six Nations.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. We shall see. Robbo, great to see you, pal. Really good to see you. Great to see that you're still potentially using the dancing feet, and that you're also getting involved in the Six Nations hopefully coming up. But I want to be seeing you with the brown envelopes in those Guinness areas of somewhere. Surely you've got some gigs.
So do
I. This is a call out for people watching. Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure, mate. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hit subscribe again. I'm doing this thing. Who knows what might happen. Appreciate you joining along.